if I had a relationship, you know, I might say it's not impossible to have another homosexual relation. It's perfectly possible, but it's usually I basically, if one has to make a choice, I would probably choose to have a heterosexual, a relationship, a sexual relationship with a woman. But you know, it's some people in London seem to sort of say you're either gay or you're straight, and quite frankly, I don't believe that. I don't actually subscribe to that view. I don't think it's either like a switch one way or the other. I think that everybody has various capabilities, and it's their own. I mean, some people do have propensities which would guide them in a certain direction, but there's also a high degree of element of choice and culture and opportunity, and where you happen to be at a particular point in time. So it's, I mean, just in practical terms, if you are doing a farm labouring, if you didn't have long wet hair, you certainly wouldn't put on a wig to go and do farm work. And you know, if you're doing work where your hands are going to get dirty, or your nails are going to get chipped, or your clothes are going to get spoiled, you're just going to do dress appropriately for that work. And again, on the other hand, in business, unfortunately, in business, first impressions make a difference in how people react to you in a transaction. So it's quite difficult for a transvestite or a transsexual to operate easily in the business world, because people, the first thing they see prejudices what they then think and what then happens after that. So I'm fortunate in that I can sort of choose where I go and how I wish to present myself at different times. You know, if I'm in a more formal situation, I would wear a suit as a man.
I guess in the world that you move in the dance, social dance world, there isn't these problems either, are there?
Well, yes, there is. I mean, in tango, it's principally, most of the tango scene is principally quite determinedly heterosexual, even though it's interesting, going back about 90 years, 80 years, when men learned to dance tango, they would dance together. Men would learn to dance dancing together, and when, after a couple of years at least, when they knew how to dance, they could then go and ask a lady, and then they would then be allowed to ask a lady to dance. So the ladies then, the man then basically knew how to lead and how to follow. So he was a reasonably competent dancer, and then knowing what he's expecting the lady to do, he can lead it much more proficiently. And so men dancing together was definitely part of the early culture of tango. But when I started learning tango about 15 years ago, on a couple of occasions, I went to some dances in my female role. I was basically told not to. Like that. So
Jackie was saying the same thing, and she was saying that in the conservative ballroom Latin American kind of environment, same-sex couples can't dance together, and certainly frowned upon if they did. And in a sense, her pink jukebox is an antithesis of that and encourages same-sex.
yes, yeah.
And she says you don't have to be LGBT to come to her pink jukebox.
No. no. I mean, it's a nice evening, and there's, you know, the mixture of lesbian, gay men, a few transvestites, and probably at least 25 to 40% just straight dancers that just come to dance. So it's quite a mixture of people. One of the things he does do, though, because it's a practical thing. If with some popular dances that everybody can do, like a waltz or a quick step, she'll say, right, we'll have 3 lots. We'll have the first one for men only. We have the second one for ladies only, and the third one for mixed couples. So it's a practical necessity, because there's a lot of people there, and it's a good way of thinning it down. But it is a sort of a segregation that she imposes, which sort of so I dance as a woman, so I go in the ladies section. But that's so I know what I was going to do. Yes, so talking about sort of gay dance competitions, gay ballroom competitions, they only like to have same-sex people dressed the same. They don't want to have a man and a man dressed as a woman. They don't want that. So for that kind of thing, I'm a little bit discriminated against. But I'm not into competitions anyway. I like, to me, the Argentinian tango makes sense. It's a lot slower process to actually realise the breakthroughs of learning about your body and about your partner's body and how the balance and everything works. Whereas with ballroom dancing, people learn choreographed steps, and they will often say, right, the men's steps are these and the ladies' steps are those. You learn them, you come together and you do them together. That's not leading and following. That's not real partner dancing, in my view. It is partner dancing, but it's artificial, it's choreographed. You might as well, in my view, be reciting. You could learn a poem in Polish, and you could recite it, and somebody could tell you how to pronounce it. But if it didn't mean anything to you, it's meaningless.
Do you still have your tea dances?
I'm going to have one of my dances on Saturday the 9th of October. I will be also teaching tango again from Saturday the 25th of... If you've got, you haven't got nail varnish in your nails, so if you dive into my bag in here, you'll find some flyers in there. So there's 2 lots. There's the tango, so take one of those. That's Saturday afternoon, and that starts again on the last Saturday in September, and that's my Global Village dance, and that's on Saturday the 9th of October at Mudshoot. And the theme for that one is Imagine. Now, 9th of October is John Lennon's birthday, and it's also his son Sean Lennon's birthday. So come along, come along to my dance.